Make sure to mute your mic out.
Con should be joining, right?
He hasn't said he's not gonna be here.
Yeah. He was asking you.
Yeah, that's why. I take it for that. Shooting to strategy.
Dominic's not coming. Colton's
Gonna be late. There you go.
And then Riley's not gonna be here.
Yeah, Riley's not here.
And everyone else hasn't said anything.
So that'd be.
Send them like a chat.
The 20th is a Tuesday, right?
Yes.
Should we have like Nixon and Daniel? Sure.
Nixon's here.
Nixon. Okay, so Daniel.
Wait, is it him? I thought he wasn't on the commission. Yeah, Daniel's not on the commission. He was District 1.
Oh yeah, Daniel's.
Sorry guys for the delay.
Oh no, we're good. It's all good.
because I can just call him and see if he can just join so we can make it. Or when Colton.
I don't know.
So it's urgent key. Calling the meeting to order at 5:40 p.m. We are open to accept any public testimony if there are members of the public present. And seeing none, we are moving on to the approval of minutes. Oh, yeah, can the secretary please take attendance, please? Commissioner Colburn, Commissioner Carranza, Commissioner Matua, Commissioner Shimizu,
Present.
Vice Chair Xiun, Commissioner Duran, Secretary Mishina, Commissioner Bonifacio, Commissioner Sagase,
Present.
Commissioner Baladoy, Commissioner Ho,
Present.
Vice Chair Ho,
Oh, sorry. Present.
Chair Lim,
Present.
Commissioner Lee,
Are we muted?
it's 8 people, but everyone online hasn't answered.
Is there something wrong with it?
No, it's
We're not muted.
Does it still count?
Should we like ask if they like some sort of app?
Yeah, I'm just gonna shoot it. Oh, Commissioner Mishina is here. He just cannot or it's very hard to unmute due to connection.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, he just texted me. He said he's.
okay.
And yeah, a lot of bumps in today's meeting.
Okay, well we can let's just count them as quorum.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like,
Alright. So quorum has been established with 8 commissioners present. And yeah. And now moving on to the approval or public testimony. No members of the public have joined since my last statement. So moving on to the approval of minutes. Does anyone motion to approve the March minutes that were up on the website for review?
I'll motion to approve the minutes.
And anyone second?
I'll second that.
Got it. And now, regarding the February minutes, we do have to,
Any opposition?
yeah, any opposition to fixing and reconsidering the minutes
For the-
as,
The
Um,
first,
For the March
the March
minutes.
minute.
for the
There's a
March
first, there's a
minutes.
second. Is there any opposition?
Oh,
That's
to like
vote.
the actual minutes?
Yeah. that's the
Okay.
vote. That's
We
the
do
vote.
have to vote on passing the March minutes first, okay.
So you can see if.
Any
see if there's
opposition?
any
Yeah.
opposition. If there's no opposition, then it's, everybody votes yes.
Okay, so is there any opposition to accepting the March minutes? Okay, hearing none, the March minutes has been passed, but we do have to motion to amend the minutes because in the,
February minutes?
yeah, wait,
Move to-
did,
Move through reconsider.
move to reconsider the February minutes. Yeah, because it does say January in the text that was first given to all of us. So just replacing the date with the accurate date of February 3rd Tuesday of the month. We do have to motion to reconsider that. So if anyone's willing to motion.
I'll motion to reconsider the date.
And does anyone second?
I'll second that.
And then we have to vote.
So any opposition?
Yeah, any opposition to fixing or amending the minutes? Okay, hearing none, does anyone motion to accept the new February minutes? To amend them? Okay. The wording is very different, yeah, okay. Does anyone motion to amend the February minutes?
And that's to change the date, right?
Yeah, it's
I'll motion
really
to amend
I'll
the
just-
second
February
that as well.
minutes.
And then any opposition to that? Okay, hearing none. Do we have to motion to accept now? Okay, got it. Does anyone motion to accept the February minutes with the appropriate change made?
I'll motion to accept the minutes.
I'll second that motion.
Seconded. Okay, with that, both the March minutes has been adopted and passed, and the February meeting minutes have been amended. Oh, wow. And then moving on to the guest speakers, we have Mr. Andrew from Ho'olanapua. And feel free, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank
Yeah, so everyone, this is Andrew from Ho'olanapua, one of the largest nonprofits in the state, helping to fight sex trafficking. And so he's here today to share a little bit more information about not only this very pressing issue in our state, more specifically in our city, but also like the organization and how they're helping to combat it, and possibly how us as a commission can help to address this issue. So thank you, Andrew, for joining us.
Yeah, thank you all very much for having me here. You know, this is a very important topic of discussion. So, Khan, thank you for the introduction. I'm Andrew Aguirre. I'm the Business Education and Development Manager for Honolulu. We are committed to the prevention of sex trafficking and providing care for children who have already been exploited. This is a heavy topic, so definitely do want to just provide a quick, brief trigger warning. We are going to be talking about some heavy items, in regards to sexual assault, things of that nature. If at any time anyone does feel uncomfortable, please, just raise your hand. We can pause, take a moment, and we can move on, okay? Next slide, please, Sheila. So first, I just want to address a few trafficking myths. This presentation that you're about to receive is a very abridged version based off of a much larger one that we can present to any, basically classroom all the way down to 5th grade, but y'all are receiving the high school version. So it's a little bit different, okay? So I do want to go over a few trafficking myths. You just got all the answers right now. So we're just going to give them 1 second, but I can jump into this without the PowerPoint. Who thinks, and it's okay to be wrong, that trafficking only begins with abductions?
I'm going to assume not, just because I don't know. I'm not trying to.
I know, and that's true. Trafficking does not begin with abductions. Less than 10% of trafficking cases begin as an abduction. That is a massive myth. It's perpetuated by TVs and movies and just popular culture. The next one is that it's perpetrated by men only. This is false, okay? At least 36% of traffickers are women, okay? That it only happens internationally. Anybody?
I mean, I assume like most of them.
I used to think that.
Yeah. 82% of trafficking cases originate here domestically and remain domestic, okay? That is stranger danger, very much tied to the very first one. That it's the white van. That's the Mauna Pua van here. It's not that, okay? So stranger danger, this is the hard statistic. 84% of victims knew their traffickers or exploiters. It happens in their own direct community of some kind. And we're going to go into that. And that it happens to girls only. No. 35% of cases nationally are reported from boys. 23% here in Hawaii. Now this number bothers me because boys underreport. So do men. Okay? The average age of self-disclosure for a man is well into his 50s. Okay? So this number is drastically lower than it actually should be. Next slide, please, Sheila. So in 2023, we received over 12,000 reports of sex trafficking to the National Human Trafficking Hotline. 12,000 just in 2023 alone. Okay? The average age of sexual exploitation in the United States, does anybody want to take a guess? In the U.S.?
21.
21? One more guess?
18.
18?
Yeah.
It's 14. Okay? How about the average age of exploitation in Hawaii?
16.
16?
Yeah, 16.
It's 11. And then you ready for this? On Hawaii Island, it's 8 years old. Okay? And we're going to go into those numbers a little bit more. Next slide, please, Sheila. So, some statistics. In 2018, we did what was called soft stings. We posted fake ads soliciting sex with a minor. Okay? In 24 hours, we got 735 responses. That means 735 people clicked the link and called the phone number. And on the other end was law enforcement in a sting operation with the FBI where they said, hey, you have just solicited sex from a minor. This is illegal. Do not do it again. Okay? We had 407 unique responses. What that means is 407 people heard that, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. Don't tell anyone. Please don't. No. I'll get fired. I'll lose my job. That means 328 people just went to the next link, clicked, and called the next number, and did it again. Okay? The buyers were locals, visitors, military, law enforcement, doctors. Okay? This issue, the buyers, goes deeper than we all really realize. 20% of the victims from this sting were identified as males. Okay? And another piece is 69% of our victims also experience homelessness of some kind. And we're going to dive a little deeper into that. So in a 2020 research study, we had 363 individuals surveyed, okay? 26% of them experienced sex trafficking directly, all right? 23% of them were before the age of 18. 11.3 years old was the average age for exploitation of this group. And we just did another study, and the numbers were reaffirmed, okay? Remember when we talked about 84% knowing their trafficker or exploiter? 25.8% was a family member. 24% a friend, a boyfriend, or a girlfriend. They know they're traffickers, okay? So, one of the things is a misconception of what is the actual definition of sex trafficking, okay? It's pretty simple. It's the recruitment, harboring, transportation, provision of obtaining a person for the purpose of a commercial sex act by force, fraud, or coercion. Force is obviously sexual assault. Fraud is by saying, if you're going to take these nude photos for me, you will be the next cover model for Abercrombie & Fitch. But they have no affiliation with Abercrombie & Fitch. That's fraud. And then, of course, coercion is by threats. Okay? So right here, force, fraud, and coercion with the recruitment, harboring, and transportation. That is sex trafficking, the definition. But it gets a little bit more complex once you start to introduce minors. That's where commercial sexual exploitation of children comes into it. We call it CSEC for short, okay? It's a range of crimes and activities involving sexual abuse or exploitation of a child for the financial benefit of any person or in exchange for anything of value or the promise thereof. Remember I said you'll be this model, you'll be this, force, fraud, or coercion. So anything. Next slide, please, Sheila, thank you. So now you see it's a little bit more complex here. Now it gets a little convoluted because the age of consent in Hawaii is 16, but this is under the age of 18. So that's where it can get a little complicated, okay? The laws are not written perfectly at the federal level and still need some adjustments, okay? These are some risk factors and vulnerabilities, okay? Now, when you're really thinking about this, you might know some people that might check off a few of these because a lot of these just sound like an ordinary teenager, okay? And this is where it's hard, especially for caring adults like teachers, administrators, city workers, things like that. Runaways, foster care, history of abuse, physical or substance. Substance is right next to it. Social media use, phone usage, okay? At-risk behavior using social media. Sexual orientation, okay? The LGBTQ plus community is often highly exploited, and there's a reason for that, okay? Race and ethnicity. Over 60% of our cases here in Hawaii are of Native Hawaiian descent. And that same trend tracks true with other indigenous groups out in the 48. Okay? And please, if you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand. Grooming. Have y'all ever heard this term? It's becoming more and more common in nowadays society, okay? Remember we talked about 84% knew their trafficker? It's because it occurs from grooming. It's slow. It's methodical. They use a deceptive process to making them think that they're their friend. They establish trust and they isolate the youth from their friends, family, and their community. They disguise it as an innocent relationship. I'm your tutor, I'm your coach, I'm your mom's friend, your dad's friend, okay? Manipulation and control, online and in-person methods. I heard my 16-year-old niece, someone was asking her what high school she went to while she was playing Fortnite. And I was like, who are you talking to? I was like, absolutely not. You go back to playing your game. That's it. Don't talk to people. Friends only. Okay? So it can happen in many, many different ways. The hard part is for people who have been exploited, they often perceive that they are not even being exploited or trafficked. Okay? They don't even see their exploiter or trafficker as a trafficker because of that manipulation. And they don't think that they actually have better options, and they believe that this is their fault. Okay? And that is just sad because they've been taught to believe that. They have a distrust for law enforcement, teachers, doctors, people that can help them, those trusted adults. Okay? They use trauma bonding to psychologically control the youth. All right? And I already said that they believe it's their fault, and that's the piece that breaks my heart the most because it is not their fault. Okay? Just a quick little story. We have a facility on the North Shore called Pearl Haven. It's a 32-bed clinical facility where girls ages 11 to 17 can actually receive treatment if they've been sexually exploited or trafficked or have other severe emotional disturbances. One young lady, we'll call her Tiari, okay, to protect her anonymity. She never shares anything real. We do check-ins. She just repeats what the youth before her says. You had a bad day? I had a bad day. I had a nightmare? I had a nightmare. She never shared anything real until she got to work with one of our rescue dogs and got to train him. He got into some trouble by biting another dog, so we offered him some professional training so we can make sure he would go to a good home, which he just went to last week. But in the process, Tiari raised her hand one day out of the blue, which was completely out of character, and she said, Wild blames himself for what happened. He wants to forgive himself, but he doesn't think he deserves it. Do we really think she was talking about Wild? She's talking about herself. She accessed her trauma through this animal, okay? So that bond of trauma between a trafficker or exploiter and the youth is so strong and it makes it healing almost impossible to access for some youth until we find the right way in, okay? So, just some red flags. Don't know why the flags aren't red. But second cell phones, okay? I mean, some teenagers can have a second cell phone. Maybe you've got a job. I have 2 cell phones for work, and even I feel it's kind of weird sometimes. I'm not sure which one's ringing, okay? Unexplained money are gifts, especially if you understand that someone might have financial problems at home, stability issues, but all of a sudden they have, new jewelry, new this, new that. A significantly older partner. This one's a little tricky. She's 15, he's 19. Ugh. She's 14, he's 35. Real scenario. Right? She's 18, he's 17. See where it gets a little tricky, right? All right? Dramatic changes in behavior. This is where it's kind of hard to distinguish a teenager's behavior from someone that's being trafficked or exploited, okay? If all of a sudden you were in class and one of your classmates picked up a chair and threw it across the room, it would be shocking, right? It would shock your teacher would deal with it right then and there. But what if there was other signs before that? A slow, gradual change. They started to isolate themselves. Maybe they stopped coming to commission meetings, not saying anybody here that wasn't here. They stopped going to orchestra practice because they loved orchestra, but all of a sudden they show little to no interest. They start coming to school smelling of drugs or alcohol, okay? These are all signs and red flags that something is going on. Not always trafficking or exploitation, but something is going on, all right? And one that we also see is the inability to speak for oneself. If someone asks y'all a question, y'all are older teenagers, you should be able to ask, what's your favorite food?
Sushi.
Now imagine if he was an adult, he goes, his favorite food is pizza. I would be kind of, okay. I mean, Khan looks like he can answer for himself, but all right. So inability to speak for oneself is a big red flag. And we adults are always kind of looking for those things. So how can you respond? And we're winding down. Is recognizing and avoiding risky behaviors and environments, and this includes social media, okay? Reporting suspected trafficking or activity. Even as youth, you can actually call hotlines. You can tell your teachers, and if you feel they didn't do something, you can call yourself. It's okay to say something if you think you see something. Educating peers and community, what we're doing right now. This is not a fun topic to talk about. This is a very difficult issue, but it's affecting your friends, your peers. People you may not even know or people you do know, okay? But the more we talk about it, the more we can change the world. HIV and AIDS, all the breakthroughs we've had through prevention, medication, it didn't start because we didn't not talk about it. We went and got in front of it, okay? Looking for those red flags. I mean, you don't have to be like every day, whoa, you're in a bad mood, what's going on? No, but just understanding what they are, and if you start to see a pattern, it's okay, you can say something. Promoting a self-positive image and info photo sharing. This one's interesting. Kind of goes into the whole TMI of social media. I mean, y'all are the real young kids. What's your social media that you prefer to use nowadays?
Probably Instagram.
Instagram? Are there any Snapchatters in the room? I'm starting to see it kind of.
Yeah.
I'm seeing it rise back up in popularity amongst this generation. I'm what they call an elder millennial. I'll accept that term. Right on. So basically, being aware of what you're sharing online, okay? And then being intentional against shame or blaming or making them feel like there's a stigma around them by judging them. It's okay. We all make mistakes. Sometimes we don't realize what our mistakes can lead us to from different choices. But the biggest one is just believing survivors, okay? So this is just an overview of Ho'olanapua. We have a lot of different community programs, okay? We have Pearl Haven, I already went into that. We have a Starfish Mentorship Program. Y'all aren't old enough for that yet. You have to be over the age, I think, of 21 to be a mentor. We do education and training, which is what I'm doing in front of y'all today. And then, of course, we have our Hoku Group Resiliency, where we do activities on a consistent basis with suspected exploited youth. It provides them a safe space with a familiar face and hopeful that they may disclose that they have been hurt and we can get them the services they need. We've been active since 2010, 14 years. There's a lot of service opportunities for youth in schools, for community service hours. We have summer internships coming this year that are going to deal heavily with marketing, campaign running when it comes to actual television commercials and things like that. A lot of different experience, and then even events. If you want to get into learning how to plan a $1+ million budgeted event, we're your gala for that. But most importantly, and this is the last thing I'm going to leave you with, and Colin, I'm going to send you this
Awesome,
this
yeah.
screen at the end, is if you see something, say something. These are the numbers we like to use. If you see something actively happening, a sexual assault, or someone just came to you and said, I have been hurt, call 911. And then we have Homeland Security Investigations. They have a tremendous trafficking tip line. It is amazing. Next is the National Human Trafficking Hotline. We have Child Welfare Services, and then, of course, the Hawaii Cares Crisis Line. So I know this is not a topic you want to maybe chat about on a Tuesday evening, especially after a long day at school, but it could be affecting someone you know and love, all right? And I just thank y'all for the opportunity. If you want us to bring this to any of your schools, any of your classes, connect me with your administrators. I'm a former school administrator myself. I will speak the language, we will get this to your schools, and we'll make sure that more and more people can be equipped to prevent this from happening to any of our friends and loved ones. So, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Does that have any questions?
Yeah, open for any questions for him and anyone online as well. If you would like to ask questions, just leave it in the chat or feel free to unmute and ask.
Yeah, sure. I have a question.
Yeah, what's
So,
up, Kyle?
obviously, like, it seems that this is a very it's a very important topic, a very, very important issue. And I know that, Hawaii, we have some pretty strict, and federally and state, locally, we have some pretty strict laws surrounding human trafficking. So is the issue more surrounding, like, enforcement, and, like, how exactly can we increase enforcement, like, especially at the city level?
It's a two-part to that, and that's a great question. It is enforcement, okay? But it's also because, remember, officers have to operate under due process, going by the book. There's procedures they have to follow, okay? When you're dealing with minors, it gets complicated because the guardians have to give so much permission and things like that. But what if the guardian is the one doing the abuse? That's where it gets super complicated. So for us, we do need to adjust some of our enforcement laws and procedures, but that's only going to come with community support through awareness. So the more we can educate and make our community aware, the more impact we can have at the legislative level, both state, county, and federal. Yeah. It's the best question I've been asked in all of my presentations, including adults.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
All right.
So you said you speak to like schools, communities, just about anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And how often do you like go around with like these presentations?
We're available 24/7 basically, and I'm being legit. Like if you need us at 8 o'clock at night, 8 o'clock in the morning, we can be there. Saturday, Sunday, it's okay. We make ourselves available. We have a presentation that's what we call the overview, but then one of the most popular ones, especially for parents and schools, is online safety and how it can dovetail into exploitation. Sheila has done a wonderful job breaking out these presentations to be a lot more informative and easy to follow. But anytime, anywhere, we're here for you. And we can even do virtual as well.
I see. Hey,
Yeah.
sorry.
Sorry.
I wasn't saying anything.
Oh no, I was just like, because I'm aware, does the Attorney General have like a task force assigned?
Yeah, oh yeah. The
Okay.
Attorney General does have a task force. They do have a department dedicated to this. They've got great people doing things. We partner with them. We do a lot of work. But we come from it at the education and actually the clinical side with Pearl Haven. So being a nonprofit, we have a little bit of a different responsibility and purview that we're
Yeah.
able to do.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You know,
Yeah.
so it's one of those things.
Totally.
Awesome.
And any other questions?
Yeah.
It's all good.
Okay. Thank you all so
you so
much. I
much for
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have a great rest of your meeting, and Con will be in touch, okay?
Thank you, of course.
All right.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank
you.
Thank you, Sheila.
And don't worry, you'll get the Roberts Rules down to board governance.
It's all good. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much for this presentation. As soon as that's down, moving on to old business, does Assistant Secretary have any social media updates?
I'm looking at it now. It's taking a little bit to load.
Mm-hmm.
I know that we got another follow today.
There were a few follows throughout.
Yeah, throughout the month.
Yeah.
But I know there's one today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just taking a long time to load.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
No, that's okay. And also, you don't have to update everything on the post part. So.
We got 18 new followers, 386 views, 7 interactions, like from March 16th to today, or yesterday.
And
Yeah.
then some updates I have. Ryan actually agreed to help us out in running the Instagram account, as just having multiple people on the platform with like their own schedules, and then just coordinating things have been difficult, so he is helping us out on that front. So with that, I think that sums up the social media updates that we have. And then as for the Honolulu Youth Commission survey, I believe there have not been any more new responses. And that might, I know we've been consistently saying something about revamping it, but I think it's okay if we like perhaps find like an alternate way of surveying, because like just having like a Google Docs link out in like the account bio or just like boosting it hasn't really proved to I suppose like have an influx of responses. So as we're like running the social media with the help of Mayor's office, I think in that regard the survey can, I don't really want to say anything about it, but I think with the social media changes that we'll be going through, the survey will also see its changes in due time as well. But yeah, for in general, the report itself is that we have no new responses. And then moving on to the PIGs, does the PIG for outreach have any reports, or is it me that has to share? Oh, well, Commissioner Messina isn't here, so sharing in regards to the outreach, we have been getting consistent emails from Ryan letting us know about like the events that are going on. I know that the town halls are also going on, so please keep an eye out for Mayor's Town Hall dates as well. It's really easy to access. You can just like search it up and you'll see like all his dates. I know he's speaking at like Mililani High School later on like this month, or is it next month? Do you know when?
Get it for you right now.
Okay.
Give me a moment.
But other than that, the PIG for outreach, I believe, does not have anything new to report. And then, does the PIG, or while he's looking for that, the PIG for environment have anything?
No new reports. I would just like to point out like kind of what's going on and as a summary for the federal situation. As far as I'm aware, Trump's policies with the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, they kind of orchestrate all the environmental policies in our federal government, is getting heavily cut down, and programs like the NOAA are being shut down completely. And I also believe that Trump is trying to allow the major CO2 producing corporations to not disclose their climate information, their emission information to the public. And basically what the administration is been trying to do is kind of add anonymity to the situation. So as obviously city and county of Hawaii, like I'm not sure how much we can do with this situation, but it is worth noting that the federal administration is kind of trying to erase climate change as a problem.
Okay, got it. Thank you. And then, so the mayor does have town halls. Sorry, just backtracking just a little bit. The mayor does have town halls, and the next one is on April 24th at Mililani High School. And there's like 3 additional dates in May, like at Kahuku High School, Castle High School, and Radford High School. And then there's 1 date in June at Kalani High School. So if commissioners, I know, are always encouraged to attend, so it's readily available on the City and County of Honolulu website. So please keep an eye out for that. And then moving on for the PIG for the HYC newsletter, there are a few things to discuss for the decision making of like the HYC newsletter details. The first thing is for the name. I have been given like a list of potential names. I have 5. I think it might be good if we can like vote on it today. But the first one that I was given was Future Focus. The second one was HYC Bulletin. The third one was HYC Highlights. The fourth one, it's kind of like Hawaii News Now, is HYC Now. And then the fifth one was HYC Insights. So those were the 5. And since we are all here, I think we can vote on the 5. Does anyone have any additional suggestions, or this one's definitely not it, or a clear opinion on which one you want to vote on?
Do we have enough people to make a decision?
Yeah, like no. Oh,
So
never mind.
Just wait till next meeting, maybe?
Okay, yeah. I think we can log them down in the minutes and then vote
Okay.
next meeting. And then we were also provided templates from the print shop that Vice Chair Colton, June, and I kind of reviewed, so we can also send that out for review as well. Decide on which format that we definitely want to push out. But yeah, so the PIG for HYC newsletter, Vice Chair Soon and I have materials ready for people to review, and we can because we don't have enough commissioners to vote on it, I suppose that when we do send it out to all the commissioners, they'll hopefully be there next meeting to vote on it. And I believe that is it for the PIG for HYC newsletter. And the PIG for youth intervention and trafficking, I know we just had a guest speaker, but
I think Andrew put it best. So.
okay, no additional reports. And I would just like to throw out there, it's a suggestion that I had for weekly PIG meetings, because well, we've had like changes in the past, like, oh, I think this PIG isn't so relevant anymore, or this topic could be proposed as a PIG. But since we have 4 going forward, I wanted to suggest having weekly PIG meetings so that even when we do have like nothing to report, at least like we can get those like status updates and be informed as a PIG before you bring it to the actual main meeting and things like that. So are we okay with instituting weekly PIG meetings, even if it's just a short like 15-minute evening conversation discussing current events?
I would suggest maybe not doing it weekly, and maybe
Bi-weekly?
every like other week, just because
Every other week.
because most people are in multiple PIGs.
Mm-hmm.
We could schedule it for like a certain date
Yeah,
and
like
time,
staggered.
like consistently every week. But if we were to do that, then most people wouldn't be able to obviously attend all their PIG meetings.
Yeah.
So if we broke it down and maybe divided up
Each.
the PIGs, so like 2 PIGs go on one Saturday and the 2 PIGs go on the next Saturday. And just like consistency in terms of like a time is always like good when it comes to scheduling events and getting like people to participate.
And
Obviously.
this was a proposal, so we're free to, I guess, have that flexibility and, like you said, when, how often, and the time frame. But it was definitely a suggestion because sometimes at meetings we just have no reports and we just blast through the PIG section. So, yeah, I think that's definitely more realistic and doable. Obviously, we don't have enough commissioners to like discuss this even further and actually come to a agreed decision, but
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
like just as like
yeah,
on our own initiative, we
On
can
our own
discuss
initiatives,
this, right? It's not
yes.
something we
Yeah.
need to start like vote on.
definitely. And I think this is definitely something you want to bring to our own respective PIGs and then mention like, hey, how about having like a meeting like twice a month or something like that. And we have a suggestion from Ryan if the PIGs are okay with having like someone from the mayor's office join us in like respective groups or having a communication channel with them so that like even when we do have meetings we can always have assistance from them or even a department that's connected to our PIGs. So I just wanted to throw that out there before we move on to the new business and resolution section. Does anyone have any other points of discussion or commentary on that?
So typically, what we have like 4 or 5 weeks between each meeting.
Yeah.
So it'd be like, okay, so I mean, like by virtue, it'd be like 2. We try to shoot for 2 meetings before
Yeah.
a given commission meeting. Okay, yeah, I'm on board with that.
And if there are no other points of discussion, we can move on to the new business / resolutions. I hope you guys had the time to think about like determining the agenda items for the July meeting. For the July 1st meeting with Mayor Blaine Giardi, are we okay with having that official meeting on that day at 12 p.m.? I know this is like months ahead and maybe things may change like right before the meeting, but we do have to decide on that. So July 1st, 12 p.m. I know for a fact that I will not be there because I am moving.
Oh,
So, but we do, can we even like discuss? No, we can't, right? Because we don't have quorum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not really our decision, right? It's more of working around mayor's schedule, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, it's the time is not a discussion. I mean, so it's either deciding whether or not we have enough people to go. Is that really like
I think
A
so,
concern?
yeah.
okay?
And since we can't even really come to a decision, it's just a discussion on if the people present are like
Wait, it's at 12
probably
p.m.?
willing to go.
Like noon.
Yeah.
Like noon, noon, July 1st. That's the proposed date and time.
I believe I personally will be on a trip. I can try to join virtually.
I have work at 12 still.
So yeah, honestly, if we can be like provided like, I know this is hard on your side too, but like multiple options or dates. I know that we've been talking about this July 1st meeting for a while as well, but if we can be provided like multiple dates and times that mayor is available, obviously we'll be working around his schedule. It might be nice. So like,
We could have more commissioners present that way
yes,
too.
that way we can have more commissioners present, and we can't really come to a decision on that either, but thank you for that discussion, and we can also just discuss what topics would come up if we were to have a meeting and if you guys were present, like what would you want to bring up in that agenda?
I mean, I feel like the board, the document kind of speaks to what I would like to, discuss mostly about housing. Right? This idea of like, how do we build more housing? How do we make it more affordable? I think that's, I mean, it's not only a youth issue, right? It's a,
That's-
by
yeah.
virtue of it, but it's not really a youth issue, but by virtue of it being our biggest issue, it is a youth issue. That's what I argue.
Okay, and then
That's a fair like justification, but to what extent can we
Well, I
to
mean,
our abilities is like.
to what extent can we solve anything, right? I mean, like resolutions doesn't necessarily need to be like something that we perceive to be realistic or not, right? I mean, we once passed a resolution like advocating for free, you know, was it community college?
Oh,
Yeah.
And ultimately like, yeah, okay, is community college free? No, but we at least as a commission, I think we need a mix of like things that we're passionate about and things that like what you've done in the past, like surrounding like you helped pass that resolution that ended up becoming a law regarding recycling bins. We need more resolutions like that too, right? Commenting on legislation. But at the same time, I don't think it's a bad thing to make our position known on certain large issues as well. So I don't know how you
Definitely,
guys feel
yeah.
about that.
So yeah, just a fair warning that we're technically like not supposed to be, or not even technically, we are not supposed to be discussing things that aren't on the agenda, right? So like if we can have this discussion to kind of like at least bring up what we want to talk about with Mayor, that's why it'd be greatly appreciated instead of just going on the fly being like, oh, actually I want to talk about this and like, oh well, we can't because it's not on the agenda. So like if there's any concerns that you yourself as a commissioner is passionate about, like for example environmental concerns, or even something that you want to like have Mayor speak on, like of course like I'm sure he'll have his own set of things that he can or cannot share in such spaces, but that's why we're just having this discussion. I know that we can't determine anything, but just so that like when we can send out these meeting minutes, all the other commissioners will be on the same page. And when we do have this meeting, for the smooth facilitation of that. So does anyone else have any suggestions for the meeting, I suppose, agenda or points of discussion for that meeting? We had affordable housing, and I think, I know I won't be there, but I feel like if, for me, I think one of the main points is like, I know we, I can't find the word. I know that the PIG for education is not there anymore, but because of like there's so many changes going on, and with like the state changes as well, like I wanted to know like what the city and county stance on these education changes within policy. I wanted to hear more about that. So I know that might be something you guys might be interested in. I'm not sure, but it can literally just be anything. So if you guys do have points or questions, I think that's definitely worth noting
I think
down.
education would definitely be.
Yeah.
I think another wait, sorry Ryan, do you know if the landfill issue will be decided by July?
Well, it's, to a certain extent.
It's already, there's nothing we can do.
Decided.
Yeah.
But it's definitely worth discussing.
Okay.
I mean, it's not, the conversation is not over about it.
Okay.
So, yeah.
That's potentially something, but
It's like it's massive implications.
yeah.
And if we don't have anything on the table like right now, I know that Ryan also had points like suggestions of topics for that meeting, so if you have that ready and are willing to share,
Sure, I'll
please
go
go
over to the
ahead.
microphone for you folks. All right, thank you, Chair, thank you, Commissioners. So I do have a long list of stuff, but I'm just gonna rattle them off for you, okay? Public safety and crime, homelessness, affordable housing, public parks, climate change, city jobs and hiring young people, careers, etc. Increasing the usage of public transportation, whether it's the bus or Skyline or handy van, any of those things. So several topics, but I would suggest even using today, just saying, okay, amongst the six of you here, each one of you decide one topic and say, this is what I want to ask Mayor about, because he is very open to discuss this kind of stuff and wants to engage with you. And then you can take those 6 ideas and say, in the next commission meeting, say, did these sound good? And then you have them kind of decided.
So yeah, I know most of us were going like, for each bullet he
I
was
do like
saying.
careers a lot.
But yeah.
Yeah, city careers, yeah.
City careers. Anything that you guys picked up on that was most interesting?
I definitely think public transportation.
Public transportation.
I would agree with that.
I'd agree with
There's a lot of changes going on,
Mm.
like the bus system right now and stuff.
Yeah, the bus system for sure.
And we have, I believe, made a few resolutions on the subject, right?
Yeah, there was one
Relating to
about
bus passes.
yeah, youth prices or use student passes and stuff like that.
So we've already have a history in that sector. So.
Mm. So yeah, affordable housing, educational policies, the landfill discussion, perhaps homelessness as well. I mean, I know that it's been like ongoing and it's definitely not a new topic, but I think if commissioners are interested, we can also pitch that, but having city hiring careers and jobs within the city and public transportation are definitely bullets that we can strongly push for in the next meeting to decide on. And then, yeah, did anyone else have any more comments, questions, or concerns on the potential agenda items for July? Or potential July meeting?
I personally think the parks discussion would be pretty interesting. As youth, I feel like parks have a lot of importance in our lives in general, and the public park system in Hawaii is something that I personally am not too familiar with. Shedding some light on that would be pretty helpful.
Yeah, and especially like the older parks that have existed for a long time,
Yeah.
like that in that regards, it doesn't even just like apply
Like,
to youth,
just
but
things like
yeah,
the facilities by which
the
we
entire
manage
community
them.
as well.
Yeah,
Like when we go to town halls, parks are always in the discussion
exactly.
by like some adult or like member of the community saying like, can we fix the lights and things like that. And so yeah, that I think that's definitely another topic that would be interesting. And yeah, if anything else, if not, then we can start discussing about if we want to do a town hall or an off-site event for Honolulu Youth Commission. It doesn't have to be an entire separate event, but I know we've pitched in the past, like, what if we were to have this meeting elsewhere at another high school venue or place. So just wanted to have that discussion. Actually, before we go to that, any discussion like regarding departments of interest and topics? Sorry, I kind of forgot that this tied in with the discussion about departments of interest. I know we were encouraged to think of it, but because like the meeting with mayor could also lead to potential like discussions that are more niche or more focused or specific towards a department, did anyone like consider and think of like departments of there? Because like we always have the, or not always, but since we talked about public transportation, there's always that department. Any other suggestions or like parts of interest? Because I know people who have written resolutions in the past, we've also referred our resolutions to a related department or such. And the mayor's office has been very like nice to us and letting us know they're always available or can make it happen. So if you guys have any suggestions on, or like, I suppose like if you want a department to speak on certain things, we can also discuss that. But now that that's thrown out there, now discussing the offsite event for the Honolulu Youth Commission, like, did you guys want to do like, first of all, the town hall? Did we want to have like another Honolulu Youth Commission event, or do we want to focus more on putting ourselves out there instead of hosting an event ourselves? I personally more agree with the latter of putting ourselves out there.
Like, what do you mean by putting ourselves out? Like doing a meeting in public, or like?
It can be that, but instead of having it like a meeting ourselves, like us just attending more things
Okay.
outside, for example, the town halls or even the events that Ryan forwards us, for example, like the landfill. Even the landfill one, I know we were all pitched an invite, but it was during school hours, so it was very difficult to go to.
Yeah. I think the thing we have to consider is it's already April,
Yeah.
and school is. I mean, I'm pretty sure if we're gonna do something like in conjunction with school, right? Reaching out with schools, whether that be a town hall, whether that be just outreach in general, it probably has to happen in the next month. Like
Yeah.
realistically speaking. So
That means we'd have to make the decision today, but we have. So I think it'd just be more realistic to think about next school year.
okay, fair.
Or like
I
next
actually won't be
fiscal
here
year
next
as
month.
well.
Sorry.
Yeah,
So,
next fiscal year. I think a lot of our terms are ending, and so is that like, are you saying that for like the town hall, or just like this entire idea of off-site in general.
Well, okay, I know that last meeting, I kind of attest to this. Like, we were discussing around, like, potentially holding events at schools. Like, I know we talked about that, like maybe like town halls and whatnot. But
Yeah.
I will say, like, okay, like the town hall idea sounds great when we do it in conjunction with we're speaking at a school.
Yeah.
I don't know if like a town hall, if we just host a town hall, if that's so great, because it's hard to get attendance. Like realistically, we don't have like a huge name recognition, right? And a lot of youth like probably would rather do a lot of things than come to the
Yeah.
youth commission like town hall. So like I think that if we were gonna go to, let's say, Mililani High School and hold a discussion there, like work with a bunch of other teachers, like let's get some classes together, let's speak to classes, let's have a discussion around youth issues. That would have been great. But because we only have a month left, and we have to make, and we would have to make a decision on whether or not we'd want to do this meeting, then maybe what you kind of like building off what you said, maybe more name like outreach, maybe the better approach, and maybe when I won't be here, but the commission can pick up this issue of town halls in the
Next
in the new
fiscal
school.
/ school year.
I agree with that idea.
Okay, and so I suppose like for this fiscal year or like school year as well, it's not really realistic, especially since we can't really decide on anything this meeting. So like, but are we? But if we were to have like a preference, like a town hall where we and like perhaps fellow youth, if we were to do it at a school, like that target audience, would that be better, or would having like an offsite meeting where we're just doing this in front of people be better?
I think a meeting would be better.
Meeting.
I mean, like, our town hall last year didn't turn out very well.
Can that even be
I
considered a
disagree
town
with
hall?
that.
I disagree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like based on the results of our last town hall, a meeting would basically have no public, would not be received very well.
Okay, I think town hall, like, if you're gonna do a town hall, like, you have to choose it. It has to be like in conjunction with a school or in conjunction with a group.
Yeah.
Like if you just like throw it out to the public and be like, oh, come to our town hall.
Yeah.
It's hard. But if you're like, okay, like we're gonna go to Mililani, we're gonna talk to the principal, we're gonna get some classes together, we're gonna prevent in front of classes, like teachers gonna assign kids like come with a question or something like that.
Extra credit.
That works, right? But like,
Yeah.
like that's how you can. I mean, yeah, like our last town hall didn't have great attendance, but it's also because
It was
like,
virtual.
it's virtual, a lot of different factors, right? But I don't think like kind of adding on to Asa, and the meeting was just like, I mean, if you don't think people like to talk and they like to be engaged, and I think the last thing they'd really want to
Exactly.
is watch us talk,
People talk.
right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like,
And another thing we have to consider is that if we are having like a meeting, then like we're discussing the agenda items on the meeting, and we can't discuss really anything else, right? So like you said, if we want to like have more engagement on their side, then definitely having a town hall-ish event would be definitely better, because really if we were to have a meeting, the only way they can engage is by providing public testimony, and we can't comment on that because it's not in the agenda.
Yeah. And in
So-
a sense, what difference is that anyways from any meeting that we've been doing?
So yeah. Okay, so any other commentary, questions, or concerns regarding that bullet? I know we've been dragging this bullet out for a while, and now it's just something that we should consider for next school year / fiscal year already.
I'm just curious. Have we ever considered like doing like a joint meeting with the state, or like potentially getting all the commissions?
Well, I know that they did I'm pretty sure they did like a joint meeting with the state commission. I'm not exactly sure how that went. I just heard about it happening. I don't.
Same. I don't
Yeah.
know the details.
Because I know
Oh,
the past chair, Daniel Pruder, was on that meeting, I believe. I'm not sure how it went, and I don't think we've had like that much like conversation with the state commission
Yeah.
since then.
Yeah.
We really haven't.
He just attended their meeting.
Oh.
He attended the state youth commission meeting on your folks' behalf.
Oh, okay. So I don't really think that's
like a joint meeting. It was just
We could
Sounds
reach
like
out.
just being
Yeah.
there.
We could reach out to them and see maybe.
Yeah, and maybe even getting the Big Island one involved, the Maui one. That would be pretty cool
Yeah,
in
yeah.
my opinion. Like, okay, yeah, maybe it's not like a huge town hall in Milline High School, but
Mhm.
it'd be kind of cool to just kind of
Get
bounce
different
ideas off. Yeah,
perspectives,
different perspectives, bounce ideas off.
Any other points of discussion or commentary? And if not, I don't really have anything for future agenda items, but coming out of this meeting, we definitely have future agenda items as we weren't really able to decide on anything. All the materials will be sent out, especially because we weren't, again, able to decide anything. And I suppose we'll just have to keep discussing the same things for the next meeting as well.
When is the May? Sorry, when is the May meeting? The 13th.
It should still be on schedule, the third Tuesday of that month.
Third, so the 20th. Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah. I mean, I feel like attendance is probably like a big thing.
Yeah,
Also, like, just
and
trying to
hopefully attendance will be better that time as well, since like most people are probably gonna be here due to like if they're here for like school, then that's like the end of the school year. They should be here, and
I mean, is Commissioner? Have you heard from Commissioner Carranza? Is he like?
oh, he's at where
Isn't he?
he's just like he no he reached out to me saying that District 2 does need a new commissioner, and I don't know if Councilmember Matt Wire and him are on the same page about it. I really don't know, but he did ask me if I had any like suggestions for the people, since that is also the district I reside in, and we're also actually from the same school, so
Yeah.
so he did mention that, and honestly, yeah, it's just really up to Councilmember Matt Wire regarding that district commissioners, yeah, whereabouts and things like that, because I think he's stuck on the mainland now. He's not coming back. I don't
okay.
think he is gonna come back. He is living his life, and I am happy for him. And moving on to the announcements. Next meeting is May 20th, 2025. I don't think there's anything that conflicts from here, right? We can still meet here, and okay, no other I guess discrepancies. And again, resolutions and documents are due a week before the meeting. I've been having like agenda meetings with Ryan and Kevin, and they have been proven to be very helpful. So yeah, if you guys do have any more resolutions on things that you guys want to provide for the commission, please just make sure they're done to me a week before the meeting, and the minutes are always into me, so that's great. And if that is it, the meeting is adjourned at 6:39 p.m. and thank you so much all.
Thank you.